Bro, wow, what's up? I'm good. We have our first big confrontation. We're gearing up for some true memery. We've got more resignations. This is an incredible resignation letter. Okay. Mr. Beauvais, I have received correspondence indicating that I refused your order to move to dismiss the indictment against Eric Adams without prejudice, subject to certain conditions, including the express possibility of reinstatement of the indictment. That is not exactly correct. The U.S. Attorney, Danielle R. Sassoon, never asked me to file such a motion, and I therefore never had an opportunity to refuse. But I am entirely in agreement with her decision not to do so for the reasons stated in her February 12, 2025 letter to the Attorney General. In short, the first justification for the motion, that Damian Williams' role in the case somehow tainted a valid indictment supported by ample evidence and pursued under 4 different U.S. attorneys, is so weak as to be transparently pretextual. I think this phrase, when we say pretextual, he means you're just writing shit to justify shit, right? That's what that means here, right? It's so weak, it's transparently just looking for a false way to support your bullshit, is basically what he's saying. It's transparently pretextual. The second justification is worse. No system of ordered liberty can allow the government to use the carrot of dismissing charges or the stick of threatening to bring them again to induce an elected official to support its policy objectives. There is a tradition in public service of resigning in a last-ditch effort to head off a serious mistake. Some will view the mistake you are committing here in the light of their generally negative views of the new administration. I do not share those views. I can even understand how a chief executive, whose background is in business and politics, might see the contemplated dismissal with leverage as a good, if distasteful, deal. But any assistant U.S. attorney would know that our laws and traditions do not allow using the prosecutorial power to influence other citizens, much less elected officials, in this way. If no lawyer within earshot of the president is willing to give him that advice, then I expect you will eventually find someone who is enough of a fool or enough of a coward to file your motion, but it was never going to be me. Please consider this my resignation. It has been an honor to serve as a prosecutor in the Southern District of New York. Jesus. So supposedly the news right now, or a couple hours ago, was that Beauvais basically got 22 different, I think, U.S. attorneys or assistant U.S. attorneys in a room and said, one of you is going to file this dismissal or else you're all fired. Hold on, let me see if I can find this. Is this a different person than the one that resigned the other day? Yes. Strong rumor with credible sourcing, the DOJ has put all of public integrity line attorneys in a room and told them that they have an hour for someone to choose who will sign the motion to dismiss, and if nobody does, they will all be fired. The nastiest strong-arming in DOJ history by a long shot. How do you link to other spots in a note? There's a way to do it. I don't remember how. Like, oh, no, wait. There's a way to link to a particular section in a prior note. How do you do it? Note heading. Oh, okay. Can I do the... Does this work? Oh, cute. It does. Nice. Wait. Why can't fucking make Pam sign it herself? I guess they might clear out the entire public... integrity office then, but some people are saying that could be, I guess the next step basically is all of these people are going to be fired. There's no way one guy would come forward and sign this, right? Trump just banned the word felon, LOL. The White House, all staff. In light of recent events, until further notice, I'm directing all staff, operations personnel, cabinet members, and White House visitors to stop using the word felon while inside the White House or on White House grounds, whether in conversation or in writing. Failure to comply with this directive will result in immediate expulsion and or disciplinary action. This is fake. This is not real. Give me source this. No, I don't even believe it, actually. What is this account? We'll wait on this. I don't believe it. What is this? Another order? February 13th. This was yesterday. To order the defendants Marco Rubio, Peter Morocco, Russell Vaught. Why is his last name Vaught? What? Bro, the writers this season are so lazy. Come on. The U.S. Department of State, the U.S. Agency for International Development, and the Office of Management and Budget, and their agents are temporarily enjoined from enforcing or giving effect to sections 1, 5, 7, 8, and 9 of the Department of State Memorandum and any other derivatives that implement section 3A and 3C of the executive order, enjoining them from restricting funding to, this is about USAID basically. Jesus. Okay, wait, hold on. Can you quickly summarize the case and what Trump is asking these attorneys to do? Which one? So basically what happened is Eric Adams was a Democrat mayor for New York City. He got indicted federally on a bunch of bribery stuff and basically stealing public money stuff, kind of. Federal indictment, big deal, pretty big case, pretty solid case probably, according to all the prosecutors at the four assistant attorneys at the DOJ. Eric Adams flies to Mar-a-Lago, and Trump basically says, here's the deal. We're going to drop these charges, at least until after the election, as long as you promise to back up my my immigration policy and my administration's goals. And so Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, through her Deputy Attorney General Bovee or whatever, tells the people working in the case, you need to dismiss these charges now. And obviously the people beneath them are like, excuse me, this is fucking bullshit. This is like quite literally like a quid pro quo. You're quite literally trying to use political leverage, prosecutorial leverage here to force this mayor to follow your political agenda. This is unbelievably and unfathomably improper. This is actual literal corrupt bullshit. And so now you've got a bunch of people who are basically quitting the Department of Justice. So Sassoon, who was the prosecutor on this case, has quit. A few other members from the DOJ resigned yesterday. John Keller, the acting head of the Public Integrity Section, and then Kevin Driscoll, the acting head of the Department's Criminal Division. Both of these people resigned as well because they refused to dismiss the charges either. And then we had Southern District of New York prosecutor Hagen Scotton resign with a scathing letter. And then now there's a rumor that as of a few hours ago, the DOJ basically put all of the public integrity attorneys in a room and told them that they have 1 hour for somebody to choose who's going to sign the motion to dismiss. And if nobody does, all of them are fired. This is probably the first huge... what would you say? The first huge... No, I was going to say branch of government confrontations, but no, this is still technically all within the executive. I guess the first set of layoffs or resignations. What do these people resigning mean? It means they're saying publicly that this is corrupt, we're not going to have any part in it, and we're leaving. Can't they just replace him with someone who will? I mean, maybe, but... Also, I think I have Subber and Dono. Tell me if artwork pops up. If somebody subscribes or donates or whatever in any of the chats. It should pop up, I think. It did? Oh, okay. Never mind. Cool. All right. Cute. Why don't they fucking resist and force a firing? Are all these people cowards that they fear they'll be attacked by the MAGA crowd? It might have to do with like getting pension or whatever too. I don't know. Maybe if you get fired or whatever, you get like fucked out of all your benefits or something. What is MAGA's consensus on this? How are they defending this? It's all bullshit. I mean, they'll say anything. What do you mean? MAGA is never turning on Trump. Learn to shoot a gun, learn to defend yourself, whatever you have to do, because if Trump told your mom to kill you, he would, or your brother and sister to come after you, they'd probably fucking do it. MAGA will follow Trump to the ends of the fucking earth. Be ready to defend yourself. Ugh. A few people are saying that they found somebody to sign the motion. Oh, 5 minutes ago. U.S. prosecutor agrees to seek dismissal of Adams' charges under pressure, sources say. Do I have a writer's account? Hold on. Okay, maybe I don't have a writer's account. Whatever. There might... Oh, this... Actually, I don't even think I'm missing anything here. This is just a short article. The U.S. federal prosecutor agreed on Friday to file a motion to dismiss the criminal corruption charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams to spare other career staff from potentially being fired for refusing to do so. Acting Deputy Attorney General Emile Bovee, in a Friday meeting with all the department's career public integrity prosecutors, told them they had an hour to decide among themselves who would file the motion, the sources said.
Come through.
You're up early anyway.
If he doesn't come through, I'll be back in New York City,
Right.
and we won't be sitting on the couch. I'll be in his office, up his butt, saying, "Where the hell is the agreement we came to?" So,
and I want ICE to deliver. And I want ICE to deliver. We're going to deliver for the safety of the people of this city.
Right.
Let
and he doesn't come.
Don't link me these 18-second clips. I would need to see the full context. What is this account? There's so much like actual fucked up, horrible shit happening right now. Like, I don't want any retarded fucking 20-second clips to distract from. What is this? Fox and Friends, Adams Homan. Oh, wait, somebody linked it.
Well, it has been a very busy week for New York City Mayor Eric
Let's see how
Adams.
Fox News spins this. All right. Can't they say it was sent under duress? It's just a motion to dismiss. It's not a confession or something. Also, what's the sourcing on this? What a time I chose to take a few days away. The number of resignations today in protest of the DOJ's order to dismiss the Adams case is now triple the number that occurred during the 73 Saturday Night Massacre, as Ryan J. Riley notes. Nice. There is shock and dismay across the legal community, regardless of partisan allegiance. Are there any other big names who have resigned, or any other people who
Department of Justice earlier this week dropped corruption charges against him. And yesterday, he met with border czar Tom Homan about the next steps in fighting New York City's migrant crisis.
How'd it go? Well, Mayor Adams and Tom Homan join us right now. Guys, great to see you.
Great to see you.
Together.
Thank you so much.
Make some news. Mr. Mayor, from your perspective, how did this meeting go? Why was it necessary?
Good. I think that, and Tom could speak for himself, I think he had a real level of frustration, and he was trying to figure out, hey, what's going on, Eric, what is happening? And we were able to get in the room and really articulate what are my powers, what are my authorities, and what are some of the things that we need to legislatively address that is preventing us from doing what we want to do, and that is getting dangerous people off our streets.
Right.
This is like the most obvious quid pro quo. This is why, by the way, this is why you have to hold people accountable if they like break the law, right? part of the whole reason of why people were in such dismay that Trump was able to walk away from his first 2 impeachments is that, like, oh, what is the message that you're sending? Well, you can just do it again. Why not? Like, you're never gonna be held accountable. You're fine. Just keep doing it, right? This is just such like an obvious, overt. Like, I feel stupid even saying it. Like, I feel like I'm saying, like, it's so obvious that the sun is out right now, right? Like, we can all see that, right?
Mr. Mayor, from your perspective, how did this meeting go? Why was it necessary?
Good. I think that, and Tom can speak for himself, I think he had a real level of frustration, and he was trying to figure out, hey, what's going on, Eric? What is happening? And we were able to get in the room and really articulate what are my powers, what are my authorities, and what are some of the things that we need to legislatively address that is preventing us from doing what we want to do, and that is getting dangerous people off our streets.
Right. And Tom Homan, as you know, Mayor, a couple days ago said he was angry at you in New York City because sounds like last time you guys got together over at Gracie Mansion, you probably said some stuff. Maybe we'd like to do this and that. And I think Mr. Homan, and Tom, you can start with this. You were frustrated that he wasn't doing enough. He wasn't keeping up his end of the deal.
Well, look, you know, I've been on that network for 4 years, and I've called the mayor out many times for not stepping up when it comes to public safety threats. But I tell you, when I sat down with him, I saw the cop in him. And he really does want to do the right thing because he is a cop. He's a lifelong cop. And so he wants to help take public safety threats off the streets in New York.
This is such bullshit. This is fucking crazy. This guy is being held hostage by a DOJ that's only rescinding these charges for reconsideration until after the election. This is such an insane, this is so disgraceful. Holy shit.
Make New York safer. He also wants to help find these missing children. We got 300,000 missing children. That many of them are here in the city. We know that. We got to find them. And he's, we'll be working with his intelligence division, his officers, to save these children because many of these children are in forced sex trafficking, many are in forced labor. We need to save them. And I think everybody can agree to that. I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on.
Yeah, and people want to hijack this narrative and turn it into a political narrative where we're saying we need to have public safety. I requested the meeting. I reached out to his team and said, we want to sit down. This has been an issue I was talking about before the election. Spring of 2022. You look at these quotes over and over again. We need to go after these dangerous people on our street. And now I have someone that understands that narrative, and we are fighting together to get it done.
I know Tom has been on our network so many times saying he felt like ICE's hands were tied under the last administration. You've agreed to sign an executive order to open up an ICE office at Rikers Island so that these dangerous criminals that are here illegally can be deported. Tell the folks at home, because they'll hear this, they'll say, oh, they're going to at Rikers Island. He felt like ICE's hands were tied under the last administration. You've agreed to sign an executive order to open up an ICE office at Rikers Island so that these dangerous criminals that are here illegally can be deported.
Like, this is crazy. This is it. This is probably the worst thing I think that's happened. I think this is the worst. Who the fuck is this Tom Homan guy? Served as the acting director of ICE from 2017 to 2018. Oh, he's our new, he's the border czar. Oh, cool, okay, nice. Can you summarize this Eric Adams situation? I don't understand. Well, how many times do I have to keep summarizing it? Wait, hold on. Who doesn't? Hold on. I can do one full explanation. I feel like I've explained this like 7 times. If you want a quick understanding of what it is, just go to Westlaw or whatever and look up extortion. Jesus. Am I not doing a good job at explaining this? Okay. Eric Adams is the mayor of New York City. He was indicted for some corruption stuff that he almost certainly did. Okay? Because when the federal government is bringing an indictment, that means that they probably got you. They don't usually just indict on a whim, okay? There's that retarded quote that fake fuck lawyers who graduated from rank 300 law schools say, you're going to die a ham sandwich. Well, they've convicted like 95% of ham sandwiches that they've indicted, okay, when it comes to federal prosecution. So he's indicted, most likely fucked. Everybody knows that he's fucked. And then Trump looks like he's going to win the election. Trump wins the election. And Eric Adams, the Democrat, says, hey, my photo ops with Luigi aren't helping me enough. How about I catch a plane down to Mar-a-Lago and chat with Donald Trump, see if he can help me out. Goes to Mar-a-Lago, chats with Trump, comes back. All of a sudden, the Department of Justice, the head of who is Pam Bondi, and then the second top, who's Emil Bovey sends a letter to the prosecutor on the Eric Adams case and says, hey, you guys have done a great job. We're dropping these charges. I need you to file a dismissal of charges because you guys were too politically corrupt before. Now, I'm not saying you did a bad job investigating, okay? We're not saying anything about the evidence, but here's what we need you to do. We need you to dismiss the charges without prejudice, meaning we can bring them up again if we want, and then we're going to review this in November after the election, okay? I am not exaggerating anything I'm telling you. This is all verbatim in the memo that Bovey wrote, okay? I'm not exaggerating or making any of this up for memes, okay? As per the first paragraph, all right, the defendant, Eric Adams, the mayor, must agree in writing to dismissal without prejudice, meaning the charges can be brought again. The defendant must agree in writing that he is not a prevailing party under the Hyde Amendment. It's not really relevant, I don't think, here. And 3, the matter shall be reviewed by the confirmed U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York, meaning they can look over it again, following the November 2025 mayoral election. There shall be no further targeting of Mayor Adams or additional investigative steps prior to that review, and you are further directed to take all steps within your power to cause Mayor Adams' security clearances to be restored. And the idea is basically, he's not going to be able to help Trump if he's facing all of these indictments. That's bullshit. How is he going to help Daddy Trump if he's facing all these indictments? Again, I'm not making this up. Okay, this is just verbatim written in the request for dismissal. Second, the pending prosecution has unduly restricted Mayor Adams' ability to devote full attention and resources to the illegal immigration and violent crime that escalated under the policies of the prior administration. We're concerned about the impact of the prosecution on Mayor Adams' ability to support critical, ongoing federal efforts to protect the American people from the disastrous effects of unlawful mass migration and resettlement, as described in Executive Order 14165. Accomplishing the immigration objectives established by President Trump and the Attorney General is every bit as important, if not more so, as to the objectives that the prior administration pursued by releasing violent criminals such as Victor Bout, the Merchant of Death. Ms. Sassoon said, no, I'm not dropping these charges. This is insane and improper. And if you want me to drop them, I'll resign. And then Bovey said, okay, bye. Your resignation is accepted. And then 2 or 3 other people have now resigned, one with an incredibly scathing letter that was Bayzed, another Southern District of New York prosecutor, Hagan Scotton, who said, there is a tradition in public service of resigning in a last-ditch effort to head off a serious mistake. Some will view the mistake you are committing here in the light of their generally negative views of the new Trump administration. I do not share those views. I can even understand how a chief executive, like Trump, whose background is in business and politics, might see the contemplated dismissal with leverage, quid pro quo, as a good, if distasteful, deal. But any assistant U.S. attorney would know that our laws and traditions do not allow using the prosecutorial power to influence other citizens, much less elected officials, in this way. If no lawyer within earshot of the president is willing to give him that advice, then I expect you will find, eventually, someone who is enough of a fool or enough of a coward to file your motion, but it was never going to be me. So there have been a couple other resignations, and then that's what's going on. But that's basically what's happened is the president, in simple words, has said, looks like you're facing some charges there, buddy. What if we take these charges back and you help us with our agenda? That's basically what's happening. So right now we're seeing Mayor Adams sitting here who is basically being extorted, let me be clear with my language, okay, who is being extorted by President Trump and his Department of Justice, sitting alongside the border czar, and Adams has now agreed under extortion to open a new ICE detention camp for the federal border czar guy sitting right next to him. That's where we're at right now, okay? This is probably one of the worst, maybe even worse, like, viscerally, than the Doji stuff going on. It's just this is an insane set of conditions here.
Tell the folks at home, because they'll hear this, they'll say, oh, they're going to come after me next. You said these are the worst of the worst. So who is at Rikers Island that will be deported? What have they done?
And you bring in 2 points where the far left has hijacked this narrative.
And now he's doing a why I left the left thing, obviously, and he's trying to be right or whatever.
Is running in our schools, ICE is running in our churches, and they are creating this frenzy. They're not in the business of just grabbing children, and we need to, just stop all this noise. Rikers Island, particularly after all the reforms, Rikers Island is now having some of the most dangerous people in our city. And by having ICE on Rikers Island, part of our gang intelligence, using our intel with NYPD, correction officers, we could identify those gangs inside and outside on the street. There was no reason they were removed from Rikers Island. And as I sat down with Tom earlier, I said that we're going to look at all the legalese. I'm able to do an executive order to put them back on Rikers Island, what they should be with part of our criminal justice apparatus.
You have a left-wing legislature.
Wouldn't achieve more to dismiss with prejudice, to destroy Trump's leverage, and get back the mayor on our side? That wouldn't get him back on our side. This is ridiculous. All of this is ridiculous. That case was rock solid. Why would they dismiss this is just corruption through, I don't even want to say at the highest level, because it's through the whole, this is just an insane. If Adams is going to be indicted after he loses the mayoral election, why is he even doing this? So his lawyers can argue that he was no, what? He won't be indicted as long as he plays ball. That's what's being said here. Play ball with us and you'll probably be fine. Don't, and those charges are coming back.
I'm able to do an executive order to put them back on Rikers Island, what they should be with part of our criminal justice apparatus.
You have a left-wing legislature. Everybody knows it. And for some reason, nobody votes in New York, so the same left-wingers get in every time. But if you had your druthers, would New York City be a sanctuary city?
What we will always be. This has always been a city of immigrants.
So you think it should be?
No, let me explain, because this is what's getting conflated all the time. But a sanctuary city is stated that if you're in this city and you're paying taxes, you should have access to the services. What I asked the city council to do, change the bill that was already in place and modify it, that if you are committing a crime, that we should be able to collaborate with ICE, even on civil enforcement, if you have committed a crime. That part of the bill is wrong. But everyday people who are here until they're moving to be documented, if they are going to school, working, paying taxes, then they should be able to provide police services, hospital services, children should go to school. That is what we're saying.
You don't agree with that, Tom?
No, I don't agree. I think sanctuaries are sanctuary for criminals. But we walked out of the meeting yesterday, and getting back on Rikers Island is a game changer. We can get, not only we get the bad guys where they hit the street.
Could a judge refuse the without prejudice refusal? A judge could refuse the dismissal because the judge feels like the process hasn't been followed correctly. A judge, that was part of what Sassoon had written in her refusal to dismiss, is that it's not even clear that a judge would be able to accept this dismissal of charges because they're being done in an improper way. Let me see what she had written. You have to have a valid basis to seek dismissal. Now, if you're dismissing a case almost all the time, like these are, I don't want to call this a rubber stamp because it gives the wrong idea, but like if you're seeking a dismissal, you probably have a good reason to do so. And as long as the defendants agree, then you both agree and you dismiss it. And generally it's fine. But if the government is literally saying, well, we have a good case and it's a strong case and we have no real reason to dismiss and we just want to dismiss for the lulz, you can't dismiss a case for the lulz. You have to have a reason to dismiss a case. The court may decline leave to dismiss if the manifest public interest requires it. The reasons advanced by Mr. Bovee for dismissing the indictment are not ones I can in good faith defend as in the public interest and as consistent with the principles of impartiality and fairness that guide my decision making. That's not exactly what I was looking for. Hold on. I don't know if it was a highlighted thing or not, but she mentions that like a judge might not even accept maybe it's this one. Seeking leave of court, meaning you want to dismiss the charges, basically. Seeking leave of court to dismiss a properly returned indictment based on Mr. Bovee's stated rationales is also likely to backfire by inviting skepticism and scrutiny from the court that will ultimately hinder the Department of Justice interests. In particular, the court is unlikely to acquiesce in using the criminal process to control the behavior of a public figure. There's no guarantee that that the court would go through with it, which would be very strange. I don't even know what that looks like, but doesn't the government typically do shit like this before they press charges? Well, no, if they haven't filed anything, they don't have to dismiss anything. Once you filed either a civil complaint or filed criminal charges, indicted somebody, now the matter is before a court, and the matter has to be resolved before the court.
The intelligence of how TDA operates, where they're operating, all this intelligence they gather at Rikers Island, we'll have access to. But no, I'm strictly against sanctuary city status just because I think
I agree this is corrupt, yet it looks little different than a plea bargain with worse criminals in exchange for their cooperation and testimony. No. Plea bargaining in exchange for cooperation might be to get bigger or other criminals involved in a thing that you might not ordinarily have access to. You can make a compelling public interest for a plea bargain on maybe you don't know if you'll be able to convict on those charges, so it's better for the public to get some kind of conviction, or you can get them to roll on other people that are further up a criminal chain or have committed crimes that you wouldn't be able to get ordinarily without their cooperation. There are compelling public reasons why you would do a plea bargain here. This is just extorting somebody to follow your political agenda.
sanctuaries are for criminals.
Right.
And
they're a magnet.
But the beauty here is that we're allowed to disagree.
Right.
But we do agree on the fundamental that no matter who you are, it should be saved. So that's what people are missing. My life is sitting down with people I don't agree with 100% of the time. I don't agree myself 100% of the time. But when Tommy and I are in a room, we're both saying one thing: no matter who you are, if you're hurting innocent people in this city and in this country, you don't have a right to be in our country.
Well, here's the thing. You can disagree on things, but Tom has made it very clear that if a politician stands in the way of the federal government executing the law, they are going to bring charges against people like you. And in fact, we've seen the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, go after officials already. So,
I'm so sorry. There are so many bad. Remember what I said before? If you're trying to figure out why people act the way they do, just look at the incentive structure. There are so many bad and horrible incentives that have been created by this administration. Fight with and kill federal officers because, as long as it was in Trump's name, eventually he'll pardon you. Lie, cheat, steal, intimidate witnesses like Roger Stone did on behalf of the president because eventually he'll commute your sentence and then pardon you. Steal from charities, do whatever the fuck you want, like Steve Bannon. It's okay. Eventually the president will pardon you. Help him get elected, even if you're lying about receiving foreign funds, like Paul Manafort, doesn't matter. Eventually the president will pardon you. All the J6 protesters, I already mentioned that. And if you look like you're facing some kind of rough and weird shit, because people are writing in chat, Eric Adams was facing a lot of pressure to resign. Was he thinking from the start, maybe if Trump makes it, maybe I can go talk to him? Was that always part of the plan? So if you do anything bad ever where the feds are after you, now it's, well, fuck me, I guess it's time to go talk to the D-man, talk to the big Donnie, go and see what's up with him and see what he needs from me so that I can be safe now from the federal prosecution. That's why are all these people resigning instead of waiting to be fired and sue the DOJ for wrongful? I think that resigning actually might be the better call. I think it might send a stronger message, and it lets you resign on your terms rather than them kicking the can down the road, reassigning you or doing some bullshit and then eventually firing you years later. I think resigning might actually be the better choice than... Didn't Adams also receive foreign money for some corrupt shit? Kind of, yeah. It's even worse than that. My understanding, just through reading the indictment, it's even worse than that. I think that in... God, fuck! I was petting Honey so much in here earlier, and now his fucking hair is all over this room. It's driving me crazy. I need to go brush the fuck out of him. It's even worse than that. I think either New York State or New York City has a law, or not a law, but they've got a public campaign finance thing that makes it so that if small donors donate to you, the city will match the funds in order to help it so that smaller candidates have a chance, and it's supposed to help with corruption. Well, what Eric Adams was doing was he was basically getting it so that through some weird Turkish guy who was also giving him favors, they got a bunch of fake donations that were given in that the city matched funds for. So he was scamming his own fucking city. Woo! He was scamming his own fucking city for fucking funding. Up to, I think overall he raised $10 million. So I don't know how much of that would have been just stolen from the city as a result. But it was bad stuff. If you want really good coverage of this, if you want to really know how fucked up his shit was, you can go and watch AJW's channel, Actual Justice Warrior, because when he's analyzing people he hates, he is incredibly critical. And Eric Adams is a Democrat. So Sean will actually give you like the full smackdown on fucking everything that was going on with him, because Eric Adams is a Democrat. So you can go watch his shit on it. He'll tell you everything. But this is just unbelievable.
Oh, was that part of the conversation yesterday?
No, I think it needed to be. I mean, we talked very frankly about, first of all, getting to Rikers Island, step one. That's the first step. We're working on some other things that we don't really want to talk about in open air, just because.
Does Adams have a chance of re-election? I don't know. I don't know how it works in New York. Would the Democrats have to primary him?
Well, we've gotten our first look at New York.
I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know like what the chances are. I don't know enough about.
The city council will be putting roadblocks upon us, but the mayor and me have committed to several other things to make the city safer. Further collaboration. Again, city council, I don't like him. I think, and Mayor Adams, he's dealing with the sanctuary law, right? That an EO can't override.
Right.
So we're working on some things to work around some of these things. So we
You're being
can
careful the way you describe it.
I've got to be very careful, because the city council, they hate me, right? The city council, they don't want immigration enforcement in the city. So we got to make sure that we collaborate in a smart way so we get more bad guys off the street.
Yeah. That's the goal. And you said something that's very interesting. You said that elected officials who are standing in the way, like me. Let's be clear. I'm not standing in the way. I'm collaborating against so many others that don't want to collaborate.
Well, now you're collaborating.
Why is the federal government openly saying that if you don't play along, they'll sick the DOJ on you? Because they're authoritarian. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Alyssa Smith in YouTube chat. What a great question, because I did not bring that up. And that was a really good point, because when Danielle R. Sassoon, the attorney in the Southern District of New York, who was heading this case, when she wrote that thing that I had shown you, and she was like, hey, I can't do this. This is incredibly unethical. I'm going to resign if you try to make me do this. Emile Bovey's response was, second, you indicated that the prosecution team is aware of your communications with the Justice Department, is supportive of your approach, and is unwilling to comply with the order to dismiss the case. Accordingly, the AUSAs principally responsible, these are the assistant U.S. attorneys, principally responsible for this case, are being placed on off-duty administrative leave pending investigations by the Office of the Attorney General and the Office of Professional Responsibility, both of which will evaluate your conduct. At the conclusion of these investigations, the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, will determine whether termination or some other action is appropriate. So you're not going to sign our bullshit motion to dismiss? We're going to investigate you. Oh, this is what I said yesterday, why I'm sympathetic towards Joe Biden pardoning his family members. Yeah, fuck that. Why the fuck would you want these lunatics to be able to dig through somebody's life and try to find whatever the fuck they can to go out? This is insane. But
like I said, go back to spring of 2022. I was saying we need to get dangerous people off our streets.
But it wasn't happening.
Is that true? We dropped crime in the city at remarkable levels.
Did you help ICE?
In the level of enforcement for criminal actions, yes. The law says, Eric, you cannot do it for civil enforcement. But for criminal actions, yes. The police department, we have increased the number of officers assigned to our task force. Every morning we meet with our HIDA representatives, city, state, and federal level. Public safety, number one. I've always pursued this. Everyone knows that's
now,
what
Mr.
I
Mayor,
stand.
what is City Council, what are they saying about you wanting to change the wording where we could go after the illegals, even if they're paying taxes, if they commit a crime? Because I saw Vicky Palladino, I know she's a New York City Councilwoman, she's a Republican, and then Robert Holt.
Can you explain the part in the letter that compares the Eric Adams deal with the Victor Bout exchange? She has that in her thing. He's the merchant of death, right? One of the things that Bovey brings up in his request for them to dismiss it, he says, accomplishing the immigration objectives established by President Trump and the Attorney General is every bit as important, if not more so, as the objectives that the prior administration pursued by releasing violent criminals such as Victor Bout, the merchant of death. This was a trade. This was the arms dealer, right? This was a trade between the United States government and the Russian government. This is one of the stupidest comparisons I think I've ever seen in my entire fucking life, right? That's who the Victor Bout guy is, right? Yeah. It's just, why would you even make that comparison? This guy was, it's just, I can't even, I don't even know if I can explain why it's a bad comparison. Like, it's like saying that Accomplishing the immigration objectives established by President Trump and the Attorney General's every bit as important, if not more so, as the objectives that your mom put forth when she told you that she wasn't going to buy any more bananas and she was only going to get you grapes and apples to eat from now on for lunch at school. I don't even know. I have no idea what the fuck this comparison is like. It's just an insane comparison. Are we? I can't even analyze this. I don't even know. It's just beyond stupid.
Holden is a moderate Democrat.
Both of them, if you were to talk to them about that change, they would tell you we agree with Eric.
Okay.
But the overwhelming number of council members who have made it clear that they're not going to modify that law.
Why? What is their reason? Why would they protect the criminal?
Well, I think that you look at many of the policies that I put in place, putting my anti-gun union, 20,000 guns removed off the street, putting 1,000 cops back in the subway system to bring down crime. All of these initiatives that I do around public safety, it's a constant fight with them because I think many people are articulating their personal reasons and not the feeling that the city has. 78% of New Yorkers stand with me, stand with what Tom is doing about getting these dangerous individuals.
But the problem is we don't know they're dangerous till they kill. Like that guy that put this woman on fire because she fell asleep on the subway. He didn't have a criminal, he didn't have a record, but after he lit up the woman on fire, now he's a problem. He didn't belong here. Same thing with Laken Riley's killer, who was housed here, went to Georgia and killed. So even though you say, well, we want to be open to people, we don't know these guys are criminals until they act, and then it's too late. Then they become a problem. But if they never got here, they wouldn't be a problem.
And that's what's good about what we're doing right now, what Tom, the border czar, has done. I've said it over and over again. We need to control our borders and not allow people to come into the country, gang members coming into the country, people who are here to commit crime. I think what we've witnessed, the border czar has...
Trump and them are getting annihilated in the courts right now, so we have to see how they respond. Because there's been what? I think the USAID stuff has been injunctioned, or at least temporary restraining ordered. The federal funding stuff, I think another order went out today saying, oh, no, today was USAID. We don't have a resolution yet on the pause on the federal funding free stuff, right? The judge put out another thing saying you guys aren't following the order that we put out. I don't know. Yeah, they're getting destroyed in the courts on this right now, but who knows how they'll respond to it, yeah.
Has done. We have seen a substantial decrease in that flow.
Tom, you know the NYPD. How frustrated are they that they can't fully have your back? Be able to tell people, Tom, you know the NYPD. How frustrated are they that they can't fully have your back? Be able to tell people...
Here's one thing that I want you to consider, okay? And we also have to be careful. That guy emailed me on Zuckerberg, and I do agree. And it's a hard thing. So it's so pathetic that not only Adams crawls back to these people, but they keep humiliating him live on TV. While that's kind of true, unfortunately, you're now in a situation where in order to take a stand, you might have to legitimately be like super brave and understand that you might be looking at the destruction of your entire fucking life and nobody will care or help you or follow you afterwards. Like that could just be a thing. So now we're at a point to where resisting the administration might start to look legitimately incredibly fucking scary. I have a friend telling me this. I don't remember this. I didn't follow this much, but like, a judge literally found that Trump unlawfully retaliated via solitary punishment as a direct response to Cohen's book, but it meant nothing. He was held in solitary confinement for over a month. I didn't even follow any of that. Was that true? So I mean, like, you're in a scary world where now if you don't follow the administration, there might be like super real consequences for doing so. They're responding to the TSO, temporary, I don't know what TSO means. I'm drafting articles of impeachment for U.S. District Judge John McConnell Jr. Oh, nice. Representative from Georgia's 9th Congressional District. He's a partisan activist weaponizing our judicial system to stop President Trump's funding freeze on woke and wasteful government spending. We must end this abusive overreach. Stay tuned. I don't think that any of these guys can be impeached, though, because I think for a federal judicial impeachment, I think you need 2/3 of the Senate. And there's no shot that happens, right? Who even does impeachment for this? I think it's the House and Senate. Process to impeach federal judge. Impeachment by the House and a trial and a conviction in the Senate. Yeah, okay. What? Judge finds Michael Cohen's return to prison. Retaliatory orders his release. Cohen had refused to sign a form that would have barred him from speaking in public, including by publishing a book as a condition of home confinement. Are these for criminal charges? What? A federal judge on Thursday ordered the release of Michael Cohen to home confinement, agreeing with his lawyers he was wrongly sent back to prison after making public statements critical of President Donald Trump. After the longtime Trump fixer and confidant said a book about his experiences working closely with the president would be published in the fall. In a statement, Cohen's lawyer, Dania Perry, called the order a victory for the First Amendment. We appreciate that. Jesus.
We'll tell them exactly where these guys are. Be able to go into these raids with you.
Oh, they're frustrated. I mean, the NYPD wants to protect their streets too, and they want to enforce the law, and they want to collaborate with us. I mean, I don't think I met a single uniform in the 4 years I've been coming to the studio that sit out front. I shake everyone their hands. We had dinner with officers last night, not only from NYPD. We had dinner with officers from Newark and from Philadelphia. We had a whole table full of officers that want to do the right thing. They want to collaborate with us. But I think yesterday's meeting, I came to New York City. I wasn't going to leave out nothing.
Right.
I did the last time. I told them I'm not leaving until I got something. And we're back into records. That's huge. But we got other things we're working on. So I'm hoping. And now I got him on the couch in front of millions of people. He can't back waving us now, right? So I think you're going to see things move in the right direction. I really believe that.
We don't want to give the false impression that there's no collaboration around criminal justice. We collaborated with ICE to take down a very dangerous gang member who was trying to put grenades in our city, caught with a gun. So there's real collaboration with HIDA, our criminal justice apparatus on the city, state, and federal level. We want ICE to come and be a part of that meeting as well.
Well, Mayor, let's talk a little bit about, you've been in the news all week.
Yes.
The Department of Justice dropped the criminal corruption charges against you. The U.S. attorney here in New York City, the Southern District, she quit yesterday, the acting U.S. attorney. And so did 5 members of the Department of Justice because they felt like being forced by the Department of Justice to drop the corruption charges was inappropriate and they should not have asked. And what she said was you offered to help with the migration problem and the
I'm surprised they're even bringing this up. Wow, okay.
Immigration agenda in exchange for the case being dropped.
Think about that. Think about my attorney, Alex Spira, one of the top trial attorneys in the country. Imagine him going inside saying that the only way Mayor Adams is going to assist in immigration, which I was calling for since 2022, right, is if you drop the charges. That's quid pro quo. That's a crime.
That is quid pro quo.
The suggestion wasn't from your defense attorney, though. It was from Trump. It was from Bovee. It was from the DOJ.
It took her 3 weeks to report in front of her a criminal action? Right. Come on, this is silly.
So, they said that we're not saying, they said when they gave you, when they dropped the charges, it says it's not because we think he's innocent. It says we think that it affects elections. It's going to affect his re-election, and we think that was wrong.
I'm sorry.
I'm surprised they're bringing all this up. Damn. That is true. And that's kind of in the weeds on that one. That was like, I actually read the fucking document.
It says we think that it affects elections. It's going to affect his re-election, and we think that was wrong.
I'm sorry, who said that?
When the Department of Justice dropped the charges, they said it's not because...
He keeps saying when they dropped the charges, but 4 hours ago they hadn't dropped the charges, and whenever this aired, they hadn't dropped the charges yet, but...
Because they think
I still don't think technically, I don't know if that motion's been filed yet.
The charges were unjust or that you're innocent, but they were doing it because with the charges they feel affected an election.
No, go deeper into what they wrote. They articulated exactly. Weaponization. When you looked at legroom turning into bribery because I asked for a governmental entity to do a building inspection. We need to be clear on the root of all of this. And
pay attention to what he's saying right now. Hold on. So what he's saying right now is exactly what Ms. Sassoon said would happen. Hold on. Moreover, dismissing the case will amplify rather than abate concerns about weaponization of the department. He's saying, well, the department was weaponized. Despite Mr. Bovee's observation that the directive to dismiss the case has been reached without assessing the strength of the evidence against Adams, meaning Mr. Bovee said, we're dismissing it without talking about the strength of the evidence, Adams has already seized on the memo to publicly assert that he's innocent and that the accusations against him were unsupported by the evidence and based only on fanfare and sensational claims, which is exactly what he's doing right here, right now.
When you looked at legroom turning into bribery because I asked for a governmental entity to do a building inspection. We need to be clear on the root of all of this. And the
Turkish embassy.
Exactly. The main justice. I learned so much through this whole process. They review cases to determine moving forward or not, as my attorney articulated. But so we look at the heart of what I was being charged with as a mayor. I was the borough president at the time. Not say past someone, can you do an inspection?
Tom, you're friends with the president, obviously. You came out of retirement, twice to go work for him and not making nearly as much money. Hope your wife's okay with that. But we appreciate you because you're fighting for this country and keep it up. But you talked to the president. The president was asked if this was quid pro quo, if he had anything to do with it, and he said he didn't.
No, I believe the president. And look,
Did this guy flip sides so Trump would help him? Yes.
the president's doing a great job. And I want to say this. Look, I worked for 6 presidents. I think President Trump's the greatest president of my lifetime. He proves it every day. Every day he proves to me why he is the greatest president of my lifetime. Border numbers are down over 90% in 3 weeks.
Think about that.
And you know, I worked hard at it. You know, Christian Nolan's working hard at it. You know, the chief of patrol is working hard at it. But it was President Trump's executive orders that was a game changer, right? And we already got over almost 16,000 people we arrested in the interior. That's 3 times more than Joe Biden had a year from now. But it's not enough. We got to do more. But President Trump's leadership, when you got 90% less people coming across the border, how many women aren't being raped by the cartels? How many children aren't drowning? How many women and children aren't being sex trafficked in this country? President Trump's a game changer. And every day, I'll say it 100 times, every day he proves to me why he's the greatest president of my lifetime. When he's not.
And you know, Tom, one of the reasons, in addition to not interfering with your election, one of the other things was they needed you to essentially assist Tom with the migration problem here in New York City.
And what does that look like? People didn't understand what that looks like. What that looks like, as I say, every morning we meet with hideouts.
Right.
Federal, state, and city law enforcement agencies.
Which we now have a seat at the table.
Exactly. That was another thing we
But
both
that's good, and that's good because, as you know, Mayor, the way this particular case is being handled right now, they can refile the charges at any time. If you don't help them, they could refile the charges. And
that's not what they said. That's not what
they can refile the charges.
No,
right? As you know, Mayor, the way this particular case
now have a seat at the table.
Why
Exactly.
is it? Why is Fox and Friends? Why do I feel like this is the only show where the people are actually familiar with the underlying legal material? Wait, what? True. Okay.
But that's good, and that's good because, as you know, Mayor, the way this particular case is being handled right
and that's
here
good.
in New York City.
And what does that look like? People didn't understand what that looks like. What that looks like, as I say, every morning we meet with hideouts.
Right.
Federal, state, and city law enforcement agencies.
Which we now have a seat at the table.
Exactly. That was another thing we
But
both
that's good, and that's good because, as you know, Mayor, the way this particular case is being handled right now, they can refile the charges at any time. If you don't help them, they could refile the charges. And
that's not what they said. That's not what
they can refile the charges. Right?
First of all, I don't get into the legalese. I have an attorney. Do that, and I pay a lot for that. What we need to be clear on, if the mayor of the city of New York is unable to collaborate, deal with intelligence information, sit down with my state and federal agencies and sit down and coordinate for public safety, we're still under the terrorist threat. We still have illegal gangs in our community that's bringing about destruction that ICE is attempting to weed out. If I can't coordinate that, that's a public safety issue, and we should put public safety first.
Governor Hochul said last night with Rachel Maddow that she would consider removing you. How would you feel about that?
She has her role, I have my role. And throughout this entire ordeal, which I think no American should have to go through, the torment of 15 months that my family and I had to endure for something I didn't do. I didn't do anything wrong. Throughout the entire ordeal, I said one thing. My attorney will handle the legal part. I'm going to handle running the city. We return jobs to our city. Our city's getting safer. We're building housing. I think that this is a great American narrative where I stood focused on what I was elected to do.
I want you to address the
Governor Hochul is an embarrassment position she holds. She stands on media after someone's burned alive on a subway. She stands in front of TV camera and says, I think criminal aliens should be removed too. But she's got the green light law. The men and women of ICE and Border Patrol, when they pull a vehicle over, law enforcement, you're in law enforcement your whole career. What's the first thing you do? You run the license plate number. Are these wanted? Is there a warrant for these people? Who are they? Are they dangerous? Is that car stolen? That's the position she holds. She stands on media after someone's burned alive on a subway. She stands in front of TV camera and says, I think criminal aliens should be removed too. But she's got the green light law. The men and women of ICE and Border Patrol, when they pull a vehicle over, law enforcement, you're in law enforcement your whole career. What's the first thing you do? You run the license plate number. Are these wanted? Is there a warrant for these people? Who are they? Are they dangerous? Is that car stolen? All these things, right? Do you know ICE and CBP can't run DMV data on New York State license plate? So they're pulling over people not even know who the hell they are.
Is that the green light law?
The green light law. So she, on one...
States' rights. Why would New York State share that information? Why the fuck would an FBI... Why would I ever get pulled over by a fucking Fed? Why the fuck would I ever want that to happen? What? Does Florida share that information? Why the fuck would any of my DMV information registered with the state of Florida? Where are my states' rights conservatives at? Yeah, fuck you. Why the fuck they shouldn't have to share that information with the feds? Unless they want to, I guess. There shouldn't have to be an obligation to share that data.
Point she's saying, well, I think criminals should be removed too, but then she locks us out of DMV data. Right. That'd be like us locking officers out of NCIC, the Fed zone. Would we do that? No, because officer safety is paramount. She's putting the men and women at ICE at risk every day.
Wait, so local law enforcement has infinite access to all federal law enforcement databases? Is that the implication there? Because I seriously doubt that's the case. I seriously doubt that the NYPD can go to the FBI and demand any information or demand access to any database they want, unless they're Doge.
The job's already dangerous. So Governor Hochul, she needs to be removed. Everybody needs to be removed. Needs to be her. She supports sanctuary policies.
I don't know anyone who thinks she's doing a good job. She's an embarrassment. It's hard for me to be impartial on that.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. The migrant shelter, it's this called a mega migrant shelter that's going to be built in the Bronx. We interviewed a representative from the Bronx, and he said he talks to everyone on the street. Not one person wants that facility built. What's the status on that? Is there any way
that's a great. You know what's interesting? If I go to anywhere in the city, when I had 220,000 migrants here, anywhere in the city, and ask who would like a shelter there, not one elected would raise their hand. And then you ask them the next question, how many of you went to Washington, D.C. under the previous administration and said, you need to stop this? I took 10 trips there. So you cannot represent your concern merely from the sterilized environment of your office space. They should have been with us saying, we need to stop this flow, and they weren't. And so the shelters have to go somewhere.
Well, how long is the federal government going to be paying for the Roosevelt Hotel or any of these other sanctuary hotels?
We're continuing to close them down because of the job that we did. 180,000 out of our system. We closed down Floyd Bentonfield.
So one at a
closed
time
down,
you're closing them down?
No, more than one at a time. We have to close down as the population decrease. We put in place a 30 and 60-day plan. No one can stay longer than that.
Because your president that you were working for and what worked for his reelection let that happen and didn't take your phone calls when you asked for help.
100%.
He
I agree.
iced you out. So
right.
you're going to have a decision.
That's a good point.
Right.
Well, the days of the federal government paying for the migrant centers are over.
Good.
Right.
So, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
you're going to run for re-election?
Yes.
Are you considering running as a Republican?
I'm going to run on the Democratic line. We petitioning to starting soon. Running as a Democrat. There's many Democrats, like you look at those 78% that believe what we do, what ICE is doing about getting dangerous people out. I think that we have to get people out to vote. That is the problem.
But you're losing by about 25 points to former Governor Cuomo, who wants to be Mayor Cuomo.
Well, listen to this. I had another Andrew in my previous race. He was beating me by double digits in February, but we don't call Andrew Yang mayor. We call Eric Adams mayor. Never give up. New Yorkers never give up. People had me gone months ago, but you know what? I'm sitting on your couch talking to
You
Fox
are
and
sitting
Friends.
today talking about the new alliance between ICE and Adams. So thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
This is new-
Alliance was never severe.
And if he doesn't come true,
You're up early anyway.
if he doesn't come true, I'll be back in New York City,
Right.
and we won't be sitting on the couch. I'll be in his office, up his butt, saying, "Where the hell is the agreement we came to?" So,
And I want ICE to deliver. And I want ICE to deliver. We're going to deliver for the safety of the people.
Okay. So I'm going back to that 18-second clip. It's even worse watching the full context of this.
Of this city. Let's focus on every American in New York should have the right to have an opportunity and survive in this city.
We're going to hold you to that.
American first. Thank you, Tom. You're doing a fantastic job.
Thank
you, Mr.
Thank you,
Mayor.
guys.
All right.
Thank you.
so much. It's so nice to have this collaboration. Two
Yes.
different sides of the aisle. But working
Right. Chicago,
together.
you're
we
next.
don't agree on everything, but we agree on
That's
public
okay.
safety.
That's right.
Okay.
That's
Mr.
right.
Mayor,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Bordazar, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's 8 o'clock here in New York City. And there you can see, guys,
That's
we're
the
going to talk
picture.
about that as you
That's a different
quietly
photo.
leave the studio.
Right.
Tom, thank you very much. Mayor, thank you very much.
Thank you so
So
much.
that,
Good to see you again.
what you're looking at right there,
you.
that is the meeting that happened. Hey, Tom, while you're right here,
Okay.
describe
Tell us
that meeting.
what we're seeing.
What was that meeting like? Mayor Adams,
Put the
you-
picture up.
Put the picture back up. Describe that. There you are at ICE headquarters. What was going on in that picture?
Well, we had my Deputy Mayor, Tiffany Raspberry, Intergovernmental Affairs, Deputy Mayor Chauncey Parker, longtime law enforcement expert. He was explaining to us of what are the various things that, as Tom
What was
stated.
the temperature in the room?
It was actually cordial. I mean, Chauncey never met the man before, but he's old school.
Okay.
He was talking about things.
Wait a second. I don't remember. I don't know who this is, which guy this is. Do you think the guy on the left here looks a little bit like Rawls from The Wire over here on the left? A little bit. Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think so. I think so. Wait, we have some I see it's in chat. Hold on. If he loses the 2025 election, will they throw him to the wolves and prosecute again? Probably not, as long as he plays ball. No, as long as he's doing a good job now, I don't think they'll go after him. Because you have to send a signal that as long as you're willing to cooperate, we're not going to go after you. If they go after him, then nobody will be willing to cooperate. It's like that pirate video that CGB Grey made. The closest you've ever gotten in a comparison. Oh my God. Oh, fuck you guys. Hold on. 45. You know what? I take that. Have the charges actually been dropped yet? No, although it's being reported as of like 15 minutes ago that they might have found somebody who was willing to file the motion to drop the charges, to dismiss the charges. So I guess we'll wait and see, unless it's an epic troll. Whoa, Piers Morgan uncensored. Destiny screaming. We didn't even go back and forth shouting at each other that much in this.
Things that I did back in the 80s when immigration
cool.
was here in New York City. So we actually, some of the ideas we came up with are old school ideas that Chauncey was aware of. We bring on and say, how'd you know about that? I forgot about that.
Remember about your days at Studio 54?
Look, anybody's got a seat cushion, I'll be real quiet. But
All right, guys, thank you very much. All right.
What is this? When he was first running for election?
Well, we've gotten our first look at New York City's first ever official trash bin.
Two types of Americans, those who live in New York and those
Okay, I'm not going to pull it up. I'm getting big Jay-Z vibes. Is it just the sunglasses here and the baldness?
who wish they could.
Sporting the trash bin with those shades. I see you, Mayor.
How about that?
With music blasting in the background, New York City Mayor Eric Adams, along with the Sanitation Commissioner, unveiled the new trash and recycling bins this morning. The city says the containers will keep city streets cleaner and will cut the rat population. So important. Officials also announced that...
What, did New York City not have trash cans before? What?
Starting November 12th, landlords with residential buildings with 1 to 9 units will be required to use trash bins with secure latching lids. This means more than 70% of the city's trash will be put out for collection in a container.
As for the other 30% of New York City trash produced by our largest residential buildings, we are coming for that too. In the spring of 2025, we will be installing on-street containers to address this final frontier of the fight against the black bags.
And the bins will cost landlords less than $50 apiece. Businesses already have a trash bin mandate.
New York's viral new trash cans unveiled nearly 2 years after a $1.6 million contract with consultancy giant McKinsey. I feel like if they paid this much, it probably wasn't just for a trash can. It was probably for a whole consulting on how to make trash collection more efficient, would be my guess, right? I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I don't care if it's racist. I do think that there are genetic... No, I'm just kidding. I think that broken windows policing, I support that 1 trillion, quadrillion %. I don't give a fuck if it disproportionately affects some people. I think it sends a message to a whole community when there's trash and shit laying all over the fucking street and the sidewalk. I appreciate communities that have... they had in a lot of places in LA. I think they have them in a lot of places in Manhattan, at least, where there's like trash cans along the sidewalks and stuff. I think it's really good. Having like just trash fucking everywhere just destroys the mind. And I think it's just gross. I don't know. I hate that. I fucking hate that. Tokyo has no trash cans, but no trash anywhere. I feel like they told me this when I was in Taiwan. And I might be completely making this because I think Taiwan is the same. But I think what my friend told me when I was in Taiwan is he said, you're just supposed to take your trash with you and then you throw it away when you get to wherever you're going. You're just supposed to take it with you. I don't know if that's true or not, or if that guy was memeing, or if that's the same case. I do think it's pretty cool that Japan tried to, or not tried to, I'm sorry. I think for big... football games, don't the Japanese side like clean all of their shit up really well? Am I making this up?
Take a look at how some of the Japanese fans there celebrated that big win.
Cleaning up?
They cleaned up the stadium. It is a classy post-match.
Try to make you fuckers do this. Anytime we did canvassing events, if we were outside, I always made you guys clean your shit up. I think it's good to leave shit clean. It's good. You're like a steward to your environment. And it's not that hard either. It is so incredibly easy when you have a group of like 100 people. They used to do this in high school. Like, everybody pick up 2 pieces of trash in order to leave class. Do you ever have a teacher do that? If you want to leave the classroom, you need to show me you throwing away 1 piece of trash or 1 thing or whatever. And it's good. It's like 2 seconds to clean everything up. And then, as opposed to having one guy spending hours on it, yeah. Fucking Doge. I saw this. Honey, baby. What are you looking for? Huh? I wasn't even going to look at this, but... Or I didn't even know about this, but somebody just linked this. Elon Musk's Doge posts classified data on its new website. People are scrambling to see if the sensitive information has been accessed by Musk's programmers, said one federal intelligence employee. Somebody said that for the Doge website, that there was, I don't want to say backdoor, because backdoor implies that somebody's installed malicious programming. Apparently, there was just an open way to access the database and start writing to the database, and people were just writing shit that was showing up on the website. it was like a publicly open and accessible and writable database. For the guy that was making fun of government databases, do these guys even use SQL? It seems Elon's Doge boys aren't as tech savvy as he made them out to be. Web security experts have discovered that anyone can push updates to the Doge database. Department of Government Efficiency. These experts left their database open. Row.